St. Lucia records 4 more cases of COVID-19, bringing the number of confirmed cases so far to 13. Day 1 of the 8 p.m. curfew gets off to a bumpy start as some people blatantly disregard the curfew and taunt the police. And the director of the Caribbean Drug and Alcohol Research Institute warns that social unrest may soon be upon us if feeding citizens is not made a priority. We have the details of these stories and more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Loveless and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Tuesday, the 31st of March 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News on Flow Channel 117. The broadcast is also being simulcast on Kiss FM Radio and on our Caribbean Hot FM mobile app. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. On the evening of Monday, the 30th of March, the laboratory director at the Ezra Long Laboratory diagnosed an additional 4 cases of COVID-19, bringing the total of confirmed cases in St. Lucia to 13 to date. Genevieve Gonzague begins our reporting.
Recent tests confirm that St. Lucia has more community spread of COVID-19. 4 more confirmed cases bring the island's total to 13. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sharon Belmar-George gave the details of the latest victims.
The first case is a 37-year-old female with no travel history but was in contact with someone within the tourism industry. She presented to our healthcare facility on March 23rd. The second case is a 34-year-old female with no travel history, no known contact with someone with significant travel history, and presented to our healthcare facility on March 24th. The third case is a 54-year-old female with no travel history as well and came into the healthcare facility on March 24th. The fourth case is a 40-year-old male with no history of travel but contact with persons with recent travel into St. Lucia. He came into our healthcare facility on March 25th.
Contact tracing is currently being undertaken. All the new cases were captured through the community respiratory clinics. The Department of Health is urging the public to be responsible and continue following all the protocols set out for the safety of the nation.
The Department of Health implores everyone to support the national scale-down and curfew measures that have been put in place to protect the health and safety of every citizen. These measures, if adhered to by each and every individual, shall significantly slow down the spread of COVID-19. On its own, the virus is unable to spread. As such, remaining at home, avoiding social and recreational activities, the potential of an outbreak of COVID-19 is significantly reduced.
The public is advised to focus on the maintaining of the standard recommendations issued by the Ministry of Health to prevent the spread of the virus. The public is also being urged to boost their immune system.
We also ask the public to keep your immune system high by ensure that you are eating healthy while at home. That is a diet made of fruits and vegetables, and also to get whatever exercise that you can get at home and in your yard. By keeping a good immune system, you'll reduce your possible chances of developing COVID-19 if you were to be in contact with someone who has it.
The first cohort of quarantined individuals have to date developed no symptoms of COVID-19 and are to be released this weekend. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzague.
Thank you, Genevieve. Acting Police Commissioner Milton Daisy and the Vice President of the Police Welfare Association, Curtis Roberts, are speaking out following disturbing videos of citizens breaking curfew and challenging the police. The first night of the 8 p.m. curfew due to community spread of COVID-19 proved to be a very challenging one for law enforcement. Some citizens blatantly disregarded the law, some even recording and posting to social media their violations of the curfew, daring the police to come get them. Acting Commissioner of Police Milton Daisy has disclosed that in Marigot, one individual was arrested for stealing a boat following curfew. In Soufrière, 3 people were arrested for breaking curfew. In Canaries, 1 person was arrested, and the Traffic Department government reported that 4 people were arrested and 1 vehicle detained. Even more disturbing was the recording of threats to the Prime Minister and the police regarding some of the stringent measures that have been put in place to contain COVID-19. Daisy says these are serious breaches of the law which will be pursued.
Police are carrying out investigations into the various videos being circulated on social media. We are hoping to get to the sources of or individuals who are responsible for them, especially those making use of obscenities and threats. We condemn these acts, and persons should refrain from doing such. It is an offense to make use of threatening words to anyone under the Criminal Code, also under the Computer Misuse Act.
Vice President of the Police Welfare Association, Curtis Roberts, has issued this stern warning to members of the public.
I would like the public to know that a curfew is issued. It is for the safety of everyone. And like I said to my members yesterday, part of the mission of the police force is to provide a safer environment. We are now tasked with an additional responsibility of making that environment a healthy one. So we are out there doing our jobs. We don't want to be out there as police officers, but we have to. We have families too. We have friends. We have relatives also. We want to be in also. So we are not out there deliberately trying to discomfort anybody. What we are trying to do is to maintain law and order, maintain a healthy environment, and maintain a safe environment. I think every citizen has a responsibility to assist us in that regard.
Roberts underscores that this matter goes beyond just enforcing the law. This is a national public health threat, and chasing after those who violate curfew is a serious health risk to every police officer.
Actually dealing with those persons now, there are times some physical contact has to be made. We do not know who we're dealing with. We do not know who is at risk. We do not know what our risk level is at. So we need to treat it at a point that every situation is risky. We need to treat every situation as a risky one. And I have spoken to some of our police officers, and I'll continue to urge them to be very careful in responding to those cases.
Acting Commissioner of Police Milton Daisy, in an address to the nation on Sunday, indicated that the police force will not be wasting its resources on warning, encouraging, or coercing members of the public into following the rules and abiding by the curfew. He has made it clear that police officers will arrest offenders on site, and they face 72 hours in custody suites and a fine. The director of the Caribbean Drug and Alcohol Research Institute is warning that the country has a powder keg on its hands due to the number of people unable to earn a living during this COVID-19 crisis. He is adding his voice to the call for an economic stimulus program and offering his recommendations on how to cushion the poor and indigent. Director of the Caribbean Drug and Alcohol Research Institute, Marcus Day, says the question that is confronting the country that the government has not proposed an answer for is, how are hungry people going to get fed?
Yesterday in the briefing from WHO, the Director General spoke about the billions of people around the world who get their daily bread through their work by the day. They work for the day, they get their food. What we call bounce and draw here in St. Lucia. 29% of the population in St. Lucia falls below the poverty line. 10% falls below the indigent line. Indigency here is 150 EC dollars a month. The people who normally would help these people are either people who have jobs and give money to beggars, or tourists. They work the tourist crowd. Women who make a bum from tourists, boys that do the same thing. All those sources of income, that entire underlayer of our economy, the gray economy, as some people call it, the street vendors, all those people who survive on a day-to-day basis with the little bit of money that they make, have no income now. How are we going to deal with that?
Day says the potential for this COVID-19 crisis to unfold into social unrest is glaring us all in the face.
I think it's better to refer to it as social unrest rather than give it a criminal justice framework, because people who aren't necessarily prone to crime, when they get hungry, my grandmother used to tell me stories during the American Depression in the 30s. She'd send her son out to steal milk from people that got milk delivery, and she would tell him, don't take all, just take one, that kind of thing. When people are hungry, people are going to do things to get food. Right now, this morning in Italy, people are rioting for food. That's Italy. You don't think we're going to not riot for food if people get hungry enough, if there's a big enough mass of people, if people get vexed when the door gets locked?
He is proposing that the marketing board be revived and for NIS to pay out citizens for sick leave.
Have the marketing board buy the produce that the farmers are producing now that the hotels cannot buy. Sell that produce to Massey, give it away to people who are poor, and start soup kitchens in urban areas where they do not have access to food that grows on trees. We know that the urban poor will suffer more than the rural poor. That's my first suggestion. The second suggestion is you got a mechanism to give everybody 65% of their salary. It's called NIS. Top up NIS, put everybody who was on NIS on sick leave, and send them the money.
For the indigent, he says there is no way around it. Food distribution has to begin. The mother of the island's latest homicide victim is still trying to come to terms with the loss of her son. Roger Hazel Daniel was reportedly stabbed twice by a known assailant. The mother of the deceased says she has lost her only companion. Genevieve Gonzaga reports.
On Sunday 29th March, Teresa Daniel was called outside her home in Monkeytown, Cicero, where she found her son, Roger Hazel Daniel, drenched in blood. Daniel was reportedly stabbed following an altercation with a male. His mother says she is still in disbelief that her son, her sole companion, is gone. The mother says, to her knowledge, there was no ongoing rivalry between her son and the perpetrator. She did admit that her son may have had a rough past, but she insists that he was a changed individual. Daniel says it will definitely take her some time to regain a sense of normalcy to her life. Emergency personnel responded to the incident around 3:40 p.m. on Sunday. He was transported to hospital where he succumbed to his injuries around 10:35 p.m. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzaga.
This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, local fishermen say they want to be part of the COVID-19 solution. They are offering their services to the Marine Police Unit. Members of the public weigh in on the suggestion to reduce the numbers of people on public transportation. And the Department of Environmental Health continues to urge people to maintain their distance. We have the details of these stories and more coming up after this quick break.